Welcome back to the Picture Perfect podcast. I am Holly Pierce, one of your hosts, and I'm here joined with my co-host, Kat Osterman, Olympic gold medalist and University of Texas alum, and she's going to introduce our very special guest today.
We tried to get this guest earlier in the summer, but scheduling wise, she had some real life things she had to work on this summer, but with an internship and whatnot. But I am super excited to welcome in the 2025 Women's College World Series Most Valuable Player. I was self-appointed vice president of her fan club because her brother Luke is the president of her fan club. But we are excited to welcome Teagan Kavan to today's podcast. Teagan, after the success you had just in your sophomore year, we wanted you to be able to jump on and share with our listeners everything pitching, and especially you being younger in the college realm, kind of, how your journey's been. So I'm just going to kick it off. Start us way back. When did little Teagan start pitching? What made her want to continue pitching? And what did that look like for you growing up?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be on. I started pitching when I think I was like 7 or 8. Might have been dabbled into it a little bit before then, but really started to work on it then. And then I threw in my first game around, I think 8 and 9, maybe I was 8. But my mom was a pitcher, and so she actually didn't want me to be a pitcher. And so she kind of didn't ever push me to do it. And I don't know if it's because I knew she used to do it, which made me want to do it. But yeah, I just started to do it. And I guess the story is, I don't remember, but I went in my first game when she walked away to go grab something from the car. And so that was, once I went in, it was set from there. So that's when I started. I do a lot of things left-handed, and so since she didn't want me to be a pitcher, she wanted me to be a right-handed player so I could play more positions. And so looking back, it all worked out okay, but being lefty would have been fun.
What do you do left-handed? Do you write left-handed?
Yeah, I write left-handed, and then when I hit left-handed.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Nice.
But it's all right.
So was your mom your pitching coach then, or did she take you to someone else?
Yeah, she coached me for just a few years, and then I got a pitching coach just so that I could listen and not for the sake of our relationship, I think. Yeah. It honestly was really beneficial, and she knew when it was time to turn me over to somebody else to just for my development and just for her things that she didn't know. And so I feel like she did it at the perfect time, and that really helped me. But yeah, she was my coach, and she's still, I still bounce things off of her.
So did she
Where did you grow up?
Sorry, she did. No, I got both of you. She is from Iowa too. She pitched at Drake. She grew up in Des Moines, and she pitched at Drake for a couple years. And then, yeah, she did catch me until I broke one of her toes, and then she stopped. But that was she caught me probably until I was in 8th grade.
So talk about, obviously, like you said, you started pitching 7, 8, and then obviously still continuing on to this day. But what do you remember kind of about how you developed, whether it's, we've talked about sequence of learning pitches, but we've also talked a lot about working on spots before throwing too many pitches. Do you remember kind of how your development panned out as far as what pitches you added and how you kind of went about when mom and or your other pitching coach, I'm assuming you're talking about Bill Hillhouse, when you guys started adding new pitches to your repertoire?
Yeah, so I saw 3 coaches throughout my upbringing, I guess. And my first coach, my first one obviously when I was little, he was really great on mechanics, and that's really what we focused on. And then I did kind of get a bunch of these pitches that I really would work on but never actually throw in a game, because I can't really master 5 pitches at the same time. And so I kind of just I had these pitches but was really just throwing fastballs and changeups, and obviously that's what I needed to master at the time. And so but then I kind of just did that, and velocity kind of came natural to me, and so I feel that was something I never really tried to focus on. It was definitely more about spots and location for sure. I think once I realized that and my mom too, she's good at realizing it too, that it's okay, we need fastball and changeup. We don't need 100 different things before we have one great thing. And so worked on that. Velocity came natural. And then I think 13, 12 or 13, I think I was 13 when I introduced my first rise ball. And that was with Trent Rubley. And then that was a short stint with him. And then I went to Bill. And when I went to Bill, that was really when I really got my rise ball. And it was tough at first, but because it was different. And I was kind of throwing more like a bullet before, and we really tried to work on more backspin. And so it was a tough transition. I had a lot of bullpens where I was like, this is really hard. I don't know if I can do it, but it takes some time. And so, yeah, once I got with Bill, I kind of settled it in, and I think that's when I really grew into the pitcher I could become.
You hit it with it being hard. Obviously, we know Mom taught you early on, but not for too long, it sounds like. Talk to us about when it did get hard, whether it was post games that were difficult growing up. I'm assuming Mom led most of those conversations since she had been in the circle herself. But what were those like for you? Both, well, I don't want to say positive and negative, but like how did Mom approach those conversations, and how did you feel about them? Because I think we've talked about in a couple episodes is there's so many parents that can almost deter a pitcher from continuing on because the post game conversations are basically you're not perfect. Or you didn't do this or that and the other. But coming from your mom being a pitcher, God help me when JC's old enough. I hope she's not a pitcher and we don't have to have those combos. But how'd your mom approach those conversations with you?
Yeah, definitely hard. I mean, there's hard conversation in that. And I think I knew that she just wanted me to want it. She didn't want to be the one to want it for me. And so I think she was never going to push me if I didn't want to be pushed. And so I think that was like key to our relationship and key to how I was kind of raised, because she wanted me to be the one that wanted to go throw and she was never like, let's go throw. It's always like, no, you got to be the one to want to be out there. And so I think that helped. And I think what I think back most on when I think of like car rides home from tournaments and stuff, and maybe the tournament didn't go well, she never was really mad at me when it was like my performance. It was most about what she could like feel from me and what she could see on me. And so if she could tell that like my shoulders were down and my head was down, or like I was showing emotion, or like I was visibly upset with what was going on in the game, like those are the times where like she would get on me and be like upset with me and just didn't want me to show that. But I think obviously like you're going to have bad games. And I think her being a pitcher, she understands that, and she knows it's not going to be perfect all the time, and it doesn't have to be. And so I'm grateful that like obviously she was, and she's been in my shoes before, but it was really just like the composure thing. Like she just wanted to not know what I was thinking at all times, and she knew that hitters can take advantage of that in teams and stuff. And so it was really the composure, and then it was just wanting it as long as she knew I wanted it. And if there was times where it looked like I didn't care or didn't want it, that was when she was like most upset. But it had to be led by me, and then she was just going to push me. And I think what's key to it too is like I'm so grateful. I feel like I have had very few, if any, people like not believe in me growing up, and I feel like that's really rare. Like a lot of people obviously have doubt from others, or like maybe their parents don't believe in them full-heartedly, or other people, their coaches, stuff like that. And I've been so grateful like my whole career that everyone I've been surrounded with has believed in me wholeheartedly, and my mom especially. That like was huge for me. So I knew every time it was coming from a place of love, and because she knew my potential.
Oh, you got anything before I go on to college?
Yeah, going back, I love what you said about where your priorities were as far as like your journey in mastering pitches, working on spots. How would a message to pitchers out there that are learning, and how would you prioritize if you had to put them in an order: speed, spots, and spin, most important to least important? How would you rate those components of pitching?
I would say spin first, or I don't know. If you can locate, you can honestly, if you can spot a pitch. So maybe I'd say location. And yeah, I'd probably say location, and then spin, and then speed. But even when I say spin, I think just a fastball, like four seam, or yeah, like your tight spin on that. Because I think if I could go back and redo it, I would have done that. Because I throw with a line ball, do like spins to just get even your fastball spin as close enough to perfect as possible. Because I was coming to school being like, oh gosh, I got to straighten this up. And so I think I think if I could go back, I would focus on that a little more. But I think location, I think if you can spot a pitch, location will beat hitters more than anything sometimes.
So when fast forward now to getting to college, is there, obviously you had a very successful start to your college career, but was there any big learning curve in there, or a big transition, things that you kind of had to tweak when you got to college from what had previously? Obviously you had a lot of success in travel ball. You know, we faced you a few times with Firecrackers, and you always threw well against us. Pretty sure you beat us quite a few times. What was the learning curve, if any, for you transitioning to University of Texas?
I think for the most part it was relatively smooth. I think, like I said, I had a lot of support and a lot of people who believed in me and prepared me for the moment. But I think it was like the mental side of it. Obviously, like you in travel ball, you'll play great teams, but sometimes you won't play great teams. And I think it's just the mental side of it. Like you're facing the best, especially when you get into a conference and everything like that. You're facing the best like day in and day out. And so just being mentally prepared. Like there's no really like off day. And so it's like you get through 1 through 3 hitters, it's like, well, 4, 5, 6 are just as good. And then 7, 8, 9 can turn it over, and honestly sometimes are tougher outs than in the top sometimes when they've seen you. And so it's just, I think it was the mental side of it, just like slowing things down, like being really intentional. I think I got to kind of just like throw in travel ball in high school and just like not really have to think about it. But I think in college I had to use my brain a little bit more and think about how I was going to attack hitters and just be more intentional with what I was doing. And so I think the intentionality piece is the biggest part of it.
But obviously you've had success. You won at the highest level here. What sets pitchers apart from just skill set to the ability to actually get the job done on the field when it matters?
I think it's just inside of you. Some people just have something inside of them, and I think it's the competitive piece of it. You might have your best game one day and your worst game the next. And so just being able to flush it and like utilize your success in a way that is like going to help keep your confidence up, but then also try to learn from your failures at the same time without it dragging you down. I think it's balancing that piece of it and trying to keep just like an even keel. Bill would always tell me, like, don't let your highs get too highs or your lows get too lows. Just try to stay even keeled. And I think that's the biggest piece of it.
I think you've done a great job of that. Correct me if I'm wrong, and you've said it a couple times, though, is that you've always pretty much had people that believed in you. And I think that goes a long way making pitchers be winners. You know, very early on in my career, I had a lot of people that scoffed at the fact I was giving up soccer, that I left Little League to go sit the bench and play travel ball. But in my immediate circle, no one ever told me I couldn't do what I wanted to do. And I think when you're brought up, having people believe in you, the ability to then believe in yourself at your age, my age when I was still playing professionally, that's easier because people believed in you when it was hard and when you probably weren't very good. But you thought you were, and they believed that you could do it in the long run. So I think that kind of sets the tone too when we talk about winners. Before we get into winning and the World Series, because we do want to touch on that and your mindset and as a sophomore year going into that environment, let's backtrack just a little bit. Obviously you went into Texas, a long history of strong pitching in the program, even before myself. For me, there was an Olympian too in Crystal Williams, but I think you were coming in kind of similar to I was. You were going to be the next great thing, and that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself and everyone else to put on you. Can you talk to our listeners a little bit how you dealt with those expectations? Because you also didn't get a very easy first game as a freshman.
No. I think I was a little bit ignorant to it too. I think like going in, I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm sure I'll throw a little bit, like, and get some innings. And I feel like I would tell that to people. I'm like, I'll get some innings. And so I think it wasn't until like we were starting season up and I came back from break where I was like, probably my fall exit meeting with like Coach White and just like how Coach White and PR were talking to me and just the whole coaching staff. I was like, wow, like I might like really like have the potential to like lead this staff. And so when I came back from winter break, it kind of was like real for me, and I think it was helpful like when we throw against our batters, like we're throwing against the best, and so I think that gave me a lot of confidence. But yeah, it was when I got told I was going to start first game against UCLA. I think I have like a a saved note in my phone that I was and I was like, I don't think if you told like 10-year-old Teagan that like she would be throwing her first college game against UCLA, like I don't know what her reaction would be, but like screaming, crying, like jumping up and down, like probably everything. And so it was super special, and it's special that we got the win, that it was like just like it was going to be special either way, but yeah, it's probably one of my favorite stories is that's how it started. And so I think that mentally gave me a lot of confidence, like regardless of the outcome of the game, just that like Coach White trusted me, that like I could go out there and play a top team and pitch to a top team and get the win for us. I think that set my whole career off, just and seeing how much he trusted me.
Awesome.
I know you and I talked a little bit about it before your first game, and mentally just how I had to deal with a college season, and you talked about it in one interview with, I think, Eric Lopez and In the Circle, and it was more of you defining what does success and a win look like for you. Early in your career, that UCLA game and the first couple weeks, to you, what was a win as opposed to just the W in the team win column?
Yeah, I think our conversation, like I still think about it like pretty much every time before I go out for a game, because I think as a pitcher you want to be perfect. And so I think like what we talked about is just like it doesn't have to be pretty to get the win, and so like as long as whatever it takes to get the win. And I think honestly it's just like relying on my teammates and like not trying to strike everybody out. Like that's not going to happen. I'm not going to get 15 strikeouts every game and whatever. So I think it's just being centered, like taking it one pitch at a time and not getting like overwhelmed in the moment. Just being able to be in control of the game. As long as I can feel like, yeah, they might score 4 runs, as long as we win 4-5, but like I'm like in control of this game. And I think it's hard to describe kind of what that feels like, but like as you probably know, just like the feeling you get when it's like, yeah, they might score, but like I'm still in control. Like it hasn't like been lost from me, and that might mean they don't score any runs, or that might mean they score 3-4 and we still win. And I mean, not everything, it can still be a pretty good game and you don't get the win. So just as long as I feel like I'm in control of like my emotions and then like physically what is in the game. Yeah.
So you seem very balanced as a person. Correct me if I'm wrong, but does that balance that you have, that you've talked about as a pitcher, and your ability really to, it sounds like, keep really good perspective, does that go across in most aspects of your life? Are you this balanced and kind of even keel in the Teagan away from the softball field?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say I'm more of like I'm a generally like pretty serious person. And so I think that's kind of serious. That kind of sounds like, I don't know. I would say I'm balanced too. And I'm like very optimistic. Like I am like 100% like glass half full. Like I just think everything's going to be like go right, like no matter what. And so I think that also plays into it, that I just like am always like, I'm just like so hopeful. Coach White gave us a packet, I think it was before postseason or something, and it was like an acronym for hope, and it's like hold on, possibilities exist. I think that's what it stands for. But I just like always think about that, and like I'm just such a hopeful person, and I think that is the perspective that I can like see both sides of situations and stuff. And so, but I'm always just very optimistic.
Silver linings. I think that's a good thing. I try to look at silver linings, like no matter what happens, it's going to work out.
Yeah.
I tend to think that way, but it seems like I can see that in the way that you communicate and the way you talk. That's awesome.
Everything happens for a reason. That's for sure.
Well, let's get into the exciting part of your career so far. Obviously, you guys went to the World Series again. This time, not only did you guys win it, get that natty for our Texas program, you were not only MVP, but you didn't allow an earned run the entire World Series, which has not ever happened. Talk to us about, obviously you knew you were going to be leading the staff, you were going to get the ball majority of the time. I think you got a couple breaks in there, which were great, and obviously when you win, you get the days off. But talk to us about your mentality going in for trip number 2 to Oklahoma City, but then over the course of the tournament, and especially when you get to game 3 and it's, do or die time.
Yeah. I think towards the end of the season, we worked with Dean, who's one of our kind of mental coaches, and we really talked about having like no expectations. And so I think going into postseason, that was just kind of where my head was at. I didn't want to have any expectations. Like we go back to talking about like what's like a quality game in our opinion, and like I didn't want to have an expectation where it's like, okay, well we're in regionals, like I shouldn't give up more than like 2 runs or whatever. I don't want to like put that pressure on myself. And so I just tried to have like no expectations going into postseason. And then it kind of just like carried into, that's what I mainly focused on going into face Florida for our first game, was just like, I think when you get to that point in your season, it's like, who cares? Like whatever it takes, as long as we win. And so, obviously, like when they don't score, you're going to win the game. And so that was great. But I think just taking it one pitch at a time and then no expectations, just trying to go out there and play free, just like keep my team in the game as long as I can, whether they score or not, as long as we're still in the game. That's what my main thing is. I think every time I don't know why it's like so vividly in my head when we played like Stanford my freshman year and then playing Florida, and our first games, I guess it's my 2 first games, and we were on the first base side each time, and I just remember every single time I'd like come back in the dugout, I'd just be like, keep us in the game, just keep us in the game. And so that's just what I kept telling myself.
Before we get into kind of your adversity piece in Oklahoma City, how did you, or what, I guess more, what things did you do to get yourself, I say reset, but you didn't have a great series against Tennessee. And obviously, we all know Texas and Oklahoma series, I don't think was great for anybody. But those, you had to face both of those to get a natty. Mm-hmm. So how do you, I know you said short-term memory earlier, but you at the same time, when those loom over you, you know, we've all been in the circle and we've all known that sometimes we carry pieces of that with us. How were you able to kind of move on, reset? You want to take what didn't work, but at the same time, you don't want to sit there and dwell on it didn't work or I didn't have a great day or whatever.
Yeah.
What kind of things did you do to set yourself up for success against both of those squads?
Yeah, that like middle part of season and then like capping it off with OU was honestly just a rough part of the season for me. And so I had a talk with Coach PR. We went on like a little walk, and I think she just like instilled like so much confidence in me and was just like just don't forget like who you are. Like, who cares that like what's happened? Like, don't forget who you are. And like they haven't seen you. Like, they haven't seen you yet. They haven't seen like who you are and who you can be and who you are at your best. And so I think that's what I took into any team that I may have faced before and not done my best. It's like, well, they didn't get me. They didn't get who I am, and they didn't get me at my best. And so if in my head I can be anybody at my best, then like they haven't got me at my best. And so I think that's like where I go back to in my head. And then just trying to flush it. I mean, if you dwell on it too much, like it's hard. You think about it all the time, and you replay things in your head. It's hard not to. But I think just like trying to focus on the highs of certain times and past successes. But just like realizing that like, well, like it's nothing you can do but move on at the end of the day. Like pick up and move on. And so, but they haven't got me at my best. That's what I would just tell myself.
I love that, and I think that's a really good message to all of our listeners out there and pitchers to understand that, like, true champions, in my opinion, they don't have to win to feel confident. You know, you don't have to get the win. It's nice when you get it, but the win doesn't have to come first before you feel good about yourself. It's about feeling good about yourself and then letting, you know, the process unfold and eventually the outcome. But I think that's a really good message about, you know, maintaining that confidence no matter whether you get a W or not, but going into it feeling good, you're a lot more likely to end up getting the W in the end when it matters.
Yeah, I think put another way, like champions don't get knocked down. You can get punched and you can get punched hard, but you weren't you never got punched out of it. The last round with both those squads, you got the victory. So I think that's a big thing pitchers can learn about is like when we lose. And you can lose bad, ugly, like super ugly. You can lose in a close game where you threw well, like, but as long as you don't let yourself get completely knocked out to where that loss haunts you forever and ever, I think is the big message. Teagan, you know, anybody that watched the World Series, obviously, after the game, found out that you were dealing with some adversity. You know, again, because I'm LinkedIn, I kind of found out like in the second inning what was going on. But early one morning of Oklahoma City, you found out that your grandma passed away. We know you wear 17 because of grandma. But that's some pretty big news. And I think most people would assume you weren't going to start. Obviously, anybody that knows you is going to know that you're going to start. Talk to us about how that went down and kind of how you kept your composure, because I'm like already getting teary-eyed asking you about it. I'm just an emotional wreck after having a kid, so it's fine. But just talk to us about that's hard news to deal with before a softball game in life in general. So how you kind of regrouped from that and then went on to pitch 7 amazing innings.
Yeah. Tough. I mean, obviously probably the last news anyone would want to receive before one of the biggest games of their career. I was able to talk to her the day before and tell her I loved her, and so that was special, and obviously I didn't know what was going to happen, but I woke up for breakfast and I got a text from my mom that said she was in the lobby, and so I kind of knew. And so went down and she was talking to Coach PR and Keeley, and so they knew, and I just got to be with them and just sit and like feel every emotion with my family, and it was my coaches just like let me feel everything because like that's what I needed. And so I was able to just be with my parents, and I went into collected myself because I didn't know if I wanted the team to know. And so I went into breakfast and then ate breakfast, and PR talked to me afterwards and was like, it's your ball if you want it. If you need time to think about it, like, just like, we'll give you time, just like tell us before the game, but like it's your ball if you want it. And I was kind of telling her that I wasn't saying like, yes, I want it yet, but I did want the ball, but I was afraid. I was like, I don't want to let my team down in this moment. I don't want this to like hurt us in any way. And so I didn't like tell her yes right away. And I told her that I didn't want to tell the team. And she was like, I think you need your team. Like, you need your team in this moment. Like, I think you should tell them. And so I was afraid to tell them because I didn't want them, if I was throwing, I didn't want them to think I was like any less capable than I would be on any other day. And so, but when she told me that, I was like, okay, I agree. Like, I want people around me, like, supporting me in this moment. And so I went on a walk with Reese, and Reese had already known, but I told her, like, she didn't know. And she just kind of told me that, like, if she's picking anyone, like, it's me out there. And, like, that's who she wants, and that's who the whole team wants. And so I think her, like, confidence in me in that moment, even when I was, like, at my low, like, I literally, like, probably couldn't be much lower, and she still had, like, the confidence and the faith in me that I could go out there and get the job done. I think just hearing her tell me that just gave me the confidence that, like, no, like, I can still do this, and, like, my team, like, still believes in me. And so I went and asked the team to meet a little bit earlier before our team meeting, before we left, and they just all supported me. And I can't, like, put into words how they, like, rallied around me, and, like, how much I've never felt, like, that much love in my life at all than in that moment. And so I can't really put into words what I felt from my team and how they just supported me and my coaches and everyone, because it was so special, so special. And then obviously with Oklahoma, playing Oklahoma, every OU Texas game is huge, and so that on top of it is just massive. And so the emotions are just like through the roof. And so yeah, it was tough because, I mean, you're experiencing, like I said earlier, don't let your lows get too lows and your highs get too highs, and you're experiencing like the highest of highs and the lowest of lows all at the same time. And so my teammates, I mean, it wasn't possible without them, and the fight that they like had in me and the fight that they had in them that they had like for me is just like so inspiring. And like that's when I knew like we're gonna do this. And I had like no, like through probably like within the second, third inning of that game, like I was like, you could ask me, like, I'll put money on it, we're gonna win the championship. Like, I think that's when we all like came together. And like I said, everything happens for a reason. Like I said, I think Miney just wanted to watch. She wasn't able to watch at the time, and so I think she wanted to be able to watch our run. And it was like such a beautiful day, even though it was like the worst day ever.
That's awesome. Obviously, condolences to you and your family. That was hard, too. I think everyone got teary-eyed when Holly Rowe broke the news after the game, but you handled it wonderfully. One thing I want to piggyback off of, as you talked about that, you and Reese are like two peas in a pod. If you watch the softball games, you two are almost connected at the hip before you go out. When you come off, you guys not this past summer before, went hiking in Utah together, all the things. Talk about that relationship and how you guys cultivated that and how that helps you, because I think we talk about it a lot as pitchers and pitching coaches, the pitcher-catcher relationship, but there's a different level when it hits. And I feel like I told you last year, you guys remind me of me and Megan Willis, because we were very similar. Not attached to the hip off the field because we were polar opposites, but the level that you guys have on the field reminded me of that. And so talk about how you guys have cultivated that over your 2 years together.
Yeah, I always heard that, like, growing up, too. It's, like, you need to be really close with your catcher, like, the battery, like, it's important. And I always knew it was important, and I always had a good relationship with my catchers like growing up, but I think until I like met Reese at like Texas that I was like I can see why like it's so important and like how the weight of it and how important it is, especially like in games. And it's funny like when we'll talk about it too, like I don't remember talking to her until like October of like my freshman year. I'm sure we did, but like I really remember like when I was like, oh, I really like Reese, like I want to be friends with her. It was like October of my freshman year. And so I think ever since then, and then we were roommates for my first game at UCLA, and we had the same like morals, like similar upbringings, just like the way we were raised and just the way we kind of view life and just in general, we're very similar. And obviously there's differences to us, but like I don't know, she just like gets me, and like we think about things similarly, and she just has like, I'm inspired by just like the way she works and how she like pushes me to be better. And just like she makes everyone around her want to like work harder. Like she works harder than anybody else, and I'm sure that you've heard that a million times on press and everything, but like and you've seen it obviously, but yeah, she works just like so hard, and I don't know, we just like got each other, and we just have so much fun, and she's just the person I go to like when I'm having the best day and when I'm having the worst day. And so it's been really special. Like, I don't know, she's always like my best friend, and so it's really cool. And so being able to like be locked in with her like at all moments is fun. It's fun when you get to run to her when you get a big win and stuff like that. But I think what helps me the most is like we're both like, she's really goofy, and we're both like to kind of get in the dugout after and like not have to be like locked in 100% of the time. And so we can like be locked in the game, but then like go back in the dugout and like have a fun time and like just be like in the moment, and then like step back up on the field and like be locked in together. And so she's the best. She's probably one of the best people I know. And so it's really cool. It's really cool that I'm very sad that this is our last year together, but I don't want to think about it.
Not yet. I think the whole thing, and I picked up on it again, like everyone knows Reese for her offense. But this last year especially, I think, I don't want to say she got better. She's always been a good receiver. She obviously has a cannon, but I think she even honed in a little bit on trying to figure out how to be even a better receiver for you. And I think there were times she stole some strikes that maybe your first year she didn't necessarily get. And I think that was cool to see, because while you're trying to evolve, she's back there, and like you could tell she really was trying to work to be better for you, and that was cool to see.
Yeah.
My last question, and I'll throw it to Holly, and if she has any questions before we get into a little game. If you could go back and tell little Teagan one thing, what would you go tell little Teagan?
Oh. I think... Oh, that's hard. I think, obviously, I mean, like I said, a lot of people just believed in me, but I think just like... if you can dream it, you can do it. Like, whatever. I never would have thought, like, I figured out I wanted to play college softball in, like, 7th grade. And I would have been fine just, like, staying around home. If you would have told me, like, I would have got a scholarship, like, around home and, like, been able to play, I would have been, like, overjoyed and, like, so happy. And I never would imagine that I'm, like, here. And so I think just, like, if you can dream it, you can do it. But, like, just make sure the people you're surrounding yourself with are just people that are going to lift you up. And just, like, have fun. Like, it goes by so fast that, like, just make sure, like, all moments of it, like, don't take everything too seriously. At the end of the day, like, some things just aren't that big of a deal, and it's just fun. And so just try to see the good in all the situations and just have fun with it, because I'm saying it goes by fast. It makes it sound like it's, like, over, but, like, it's far from over, hopefully, like, my career. But, yeah, it already just goes by so fast, and so just soak it all up. Be a sponge, I'd say, probably. That was a lot of things, but...
That was great.
Conversation.
Can you give us a little behind the scenes, the day that you guys won it, the championship, a little behind the scenes, just as far as walk us through, like, the bus ride to the stadium, in the locker room, the warm-ups, what was the vibe, what was, do you guys have any thing that you do on the bus before games, any kind of superstitions, but, like, what did that day look like leading up to that big game?
Yeah, so I immediately just think of Ashton. Like, no one can fire you up like Ashton Maloney. Like, she is so, like, I mean, I don't know how much, like, from when watching the game, but, like, in the dugout and, like, before the game, like, she's such an emotional, like, she plays so emotional. And so she just like fired us all up before it, and like I think we realized like in that game too, like we played like not to lose, like we didn't play to win. And so we just like going on, and I mean, this was it. Like this was the last chance we all got together, whether we win or we lose. And so we were just like not going to be afraid of anything and like play to win. Like that's what we came here to do. We aren't going to be timid. And so we were far from timid going into that game. And she just fired me up and the team up. And then, yeah, I just like think of her before on the bus and like in our pregame speech. And we were all like super emotional, like going into it, just like fired up and like ready to go. And so that definitely carried on over into the game. But it's kind of, I feel like things from the day keep coming back to me. Like I keep like remembering things, and it all still doesn't feel like very real. But after the game, like I remember the lightning delay came on, or there was like lightning in the area after we won, and it was like telling everyone to evacuate, and everyone was like, "You'll drag me off this field, like we're not like leaving." Yeah, but no, it was so fun. I think we just like knew, like we were so confident in what we could do, and Ashton from the get go, it was really light. Like no one was really like feeling like very heavy, just like have to. It was just kind of like a get to, like we're going to go do this. And so the bus ride's always fun. I don't know why, but we always like bring our like boombox speaker instead of just like playing it through the bus. So like the actual like speaker's just like in the back, and Vic is always on aux, and so it's always fun. It's always a good time. Last year's team and this year's team will be fun too, but obviously last year's team was super special. We were all super close, and it was just a good time. We were always having a good time, and so that day was a fabulous day all around. But Ashton firing us up, and then yeah, we always have a lot of music, and we do like a clap out at the field. That's really fun. Or at the hotel before we go out where all our family is. Yeah, and then our offense just went crazy, and it was incredible.
Yep, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, well, Kat, if you have any more questions, otherwise we're going to play a little game.
No, I think the one thing I'll say, and for listeners, is I think Teagan summed it up best, and you can tell that you play the best when you're having fun. And I know you can be serious and have fun at the same time, but I think in Oklahoma, after they interviewed you after the Oklahoma game, you said sometimes you have to remember this is a game. We're throwing a yellow ball and you're running and turning left. And I think the perspective of what we're really doing sometimes, even as coaches, and I know, Holly, you and I have talked about it from a coaching perspective, is like sometimes we even start to make it bigger and bigger, and we have to remind our kids, like, it is still just a game that you can use to go to college and continue to play and earn money, but it's still at the end of the day a game. And so I think if you watch Teagan throw, you can see that, yeah, she takes her craft very seriously, but she also understands her craft is part of the game, and it's not the game of life itself, which is really cool to watch and see. And if you can break the stoic poker face, anyone can try, but it doesn't. She barely cracks a smile sometimes in big moments. But I think that's the biggest piece that I would push people to take away from you, Teagan, is that you embrace the game with a very seriousness that allows you to be successful. But I think you keep perspective of the fact that it's a game, and not all of us, I mean, I'll be the first, I couldn't always do that myself. Playing it for as long as I did, sometimes forgot that it was a game, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't
It's not
fun.
easy.
No,
I do too.
But with that, Holly, you can give us whatever game Teagan and I are about to play.
Okay, so we're going to play University of Texas trivia.
Okay.
And I'll just say whoever shouts the answer out first gets the point.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So rather than go back and
I'm
forth,
nervous.
we tried to go back and forth when we had Amanda Scarborough on, and I don't know, it was weird. It didn't work. So you just gonna shout it out when you got the answer, okay? All right, for a tie, I'll give you guys both a point. All right, number 1. And if you don't get this year exactly right, whoever's closest gets the point. What year was UT founded?
Oh.
1873. There's
You got a guess, Teagan?
I'll say 1880.
1883. Point
Oh,
for
wow.
Teagan. All right, that was close.
I knew there was a 3 at the end. I couldn't remember what the...
All right.
I was trying to stay around your answer.
The Texas student section at the football games is called what?
Oh, I don't know.
I didn't even know we had a name.
Apparently, only ChatGPT knows it.
They moved you guys
We
to
don't
the
sit
push
with
here,
the
didn't
student
they?
section, yeah.
It says Longhorn Hellraisers.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah?
I've heard.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's a student
Okay.
group.
There's a group, yeah.
Oh, it is? Okay. What is the name of the UT mascot?
Bevo.
Evo.
Yes.
The
Is that a
inflatable
tie? I don't know. Tie?
one is named Hook'em.
Okay.
Yeah.
Point for both of you guys. All right. The UT campus landmark tower is how many stories tall?
Oh, gosh. I have no
Whoever's
idea.
closest gets the point.
I really can't remember.
I have no idea. I might be like so far off. I'll say
I'm gonna say 52.
okay, I was gonna say 30.
27. Teagan,
Oh, wow.
good job. All right. 3-1. Kat, come on. All right. How many? All right. Here we go. This is a good one for Kat. Who was the first Texas softball player to win National Player of the Year? Yes, Kat. There we go. Point to Kat. Woo! Okay. The first Women's College World Series appearance was in what year?
Well,
Whoever gets it
when did we
closest.
start in
98.
Yes, point to Kat. It's tied. All right.
Did softball start in 92?
No, 96 was our club year. 97 was their first
Okay.
varsity year. 98 they went to the World Series.
Okay. Oh, I should know that because we were like the 20s. Well,
What is the name of the Texas fight song? I basically just said it.
Texas
Texas
Fight.
fight.
Yes. Point to you both. I gave. All right.
I've heard this before.
All right, it's 4-4. So let me give a good one for a tiebreaker. Let's see. What's the Austin tradition after a big win?
Light the tower.
Is that it? Is there another one?
I would have probably said that too.
This one said
Is there
Littlefield
another?
Fountain.
That might, I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go with another one then. All right, let's see. How many national football championships did the University of Texas Longhorns have?
I'm going to say 3.
2.
So that's a point to Kat. Kat, do you have a bonus round question for Teagan? Something about softball?
Well, I could.
Alumni, you got to test your youngin here.
I know
I'm
I'm scared. I don't want to let anybody
The
down.
answer is not me, so I will give you that heads up. Do you know who our first All-American was?
No.
She's on the wall in this concourse. Nikki Cockrell. She was a second baseman that actually transferred from Texas A&M to come to Texas.
fun.
Yeah. Her and you've met Jody Reeves, but right?
Yeah.
Her and Jody were our first. Nikki was first, and then Jody was an All-American. So.
Who was the first pitcher to win a national championship at the University of
The
Texas?
one and only Teagan Kavan.
Yay.
Oh,
No.
congrats. All right, that's our game today. Teagan, good job. Kat, good job. And ChatGPT, unfortunately, seems to know the most about Texas. So,
The Littlefield
Every
fountain
time-
thing isn't like we're not really supposed to get in the fountain. I know they do for senior pictures now, but back in the day we weren't even allowed to get in it.
really?
But they do light the tower. Like football gets the top of
Yeah,
the
that's
tower lit
definitely the.
when they win conference, and then if you win if you win the conference title, like the whole tower gets lit, and then you get the one if you win a natty. So.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm bummed. I missed Teagan winning a World Series. I missed the tower being lit with a 1. I was out of town for all of it. I'm just. But maybe I'm not supposed to go to Oklahoma City.
You're
ever.
there in spirit.
Don't worry, I was glued to the TV for every second.
Yeah. I know.
Well, Teagan, thank you so much. Again, congratulations on all your success this past year. I'm super excited. You still got 2 years left, so we cannot wait. I know all the fans out there cannot wait to see what you have coming up here in the future. I have one more question, actually. What are your goals for this upcoming year? You've obviously won it now. So now what moving forward? What kind of goals do you have in this upcoming year or two?
I honestly, for this fall, I think it's gonna be. I think obviously since we won, like we ended on such a high, and so I think when I go to set goals for season, I accomplished a lot of what I wanted, and so obviously I want to accomplish it all over again. But I think going into this fall, I like have thought about this, and I want to start with the fall and just like not get comfortable. I think I want to like. I feel like when I'm throwing bullpens, a lot of times I just like will get like sometimes I'll get like complacent and just like want to have a good bullpen and like want to feel good that day. And I want to like be happy on the days that I'm like uncomfortable and don't like feel good about like my bullpen, and like because I know that like that's what's going to like help me and that's what's going to like make me better is just like doing hard things and like maybe trying new things and stuff like that. And so I just want to be I want a good bullpen to like not necessarily feel good, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you joining us. I know we tried earlier in the summer, but you had to do your internship and real world stuff.
Yeah, it was so
I've
fun.
told you plenty of times. I'm super proud of you. I don't know that I've been a fan of someone as much as I am of yours. I should have worn my hat. I do have my Kavan hat now. I'll bust it out this fall. But I do hope you have a successful junior year and senior year, and we can bring you back on here to talk about how you continue to maintain being amazing. We appreciate you, and you offered so much for our listeners today. And Texas or not, best of luck as you continue on. But you know I'll be there, and I'm glad you're on our side in Burn Orange.
Thank you. I appreciate you and everything that you do for and still support our program. That means a lot to the whole team and me myself too. So we all appreciate you, but I do too a lot. So thanks for having me though. This is fun. I like to talk specifically pitching too, so it's fun. Obviously.
We'll bring you
But
back. We'll make sure we'll bring you back at some point. We got 2 years still and then beyond.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll get you back on to talk about more probably the evolution. We saw drop ball come into play your sophomore year. We'll see what you add as a junior and
Yeah.
senior.
Yeah, we shall see. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Teagan. Thank you guys for listening in. This is another episode of the Pitcher Perfect podcast. You can follow us on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on all the things. Tune in, like, subscribe, share, and we will see you next time.
Bye, guys.